Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Challenge here at lovely Monza here in Italy. I am Austin. I am joined by Avery McDonald with Marco Barbonera in the production booth, and it's a bit of a weird day today because the fog has rolled in northern Italy, which is kind of realistic for this type of year, but it is not something that these guys prepared for at all this week.
Yeah, the meteorologist had a little bit difference weather in the forecast. All jokes aside, it's going to be pretty difficult with this fog. I mean, these drivers are probably used to practicing without any fog, so it's going to see how, how it's going to end up working out for everyone with such a difficult track.
Yeah, and it's also going to be a bit of a headache for us because spotting some things is going to be quite hard with the limited visibility, but the acceleration out of these corners is going to be absolutely on fire. So we might see the tires get a little bit of a workout today coming out of these corners.
Yeah, we got a stacked field today. A lot of regular drivers here, but it's good to see Greg Olson back in a F3.5 race. It's been a couple weeks for him, but this could get real exciting, Austin. We could have a good opportunity, some good carnage.
Ooh, in this 5K iRacing strength of field. This is one of the few times we've seen a 5K, and let me tell you, I love it as we ride on board with Paul Ilbrick right now, fighting the wheel just a little bit, coming through Lesmo too, and he goes through that DRS zone, and he's definitely got that DRS wide open.
Yeah, the 5K SOF, I mean, I tell you what, Austin, this is, with the 5K SOF, the weather, and this track, I mean, this has some really good potential to be a fantastic race.
As always, let's go to our blimp, and, well, hopefully you see through the Lysol spray, but, we aren't going to be using that camera angle.
Yeah, definitely a very foggy racetrack here. We don't really see that very often in this series, Austin.
Yeah, no. I think I've only had 2 races so far before this, but where it was an actual foggy track, so this is going to be the 3rd. And this is going to be the first time I've seen one at Monza. Funny enough, both the foggy races that I've covered have been at Virginia International Raceway.
Well, it's nice to get a little change, Yeah, instead of having it always at VIR. I really like this track. It's just a little bit different track. Have some chicanes, some long straightaways, So I like it,
I like it too. Track temperature currently is at 21 degrees Celsius with a cool 19 degrees in the air. Humidity at 99%. So when I say cool, it's really just miserable. But I guess it just rained earlier here, and then iRacing hopped in and rain hashtag soon, please. Probably when the LMP2 arrives or something.
Yeah, the humidity is not it's terrible. But I tell you what though, what's not terrible is Delisle's quick time right now. Oh my gosh, 2/10 quicker than everybody else.
Yeah, Delisle not, well, just as dominant as usual, but not as close as last week, where last week we had 3 guys all within a 10th of each other, which was absolutely ridiculous. But it's just Monza. It just brings on another level as Tim Delisle is on pole. Behind him is Suelio Almeida, starting right beside him. And behind them is going to be Fabio Di Carmo, Greg Olson, Paul Ilbrink, Ricardo Orzocco, Edward Samborski, Robert Tarleton, Dominic Gardemeyer, James J. Pinsker, Simone Pizzica, Omar Baja, Dan Giang, Jorge Lopez, Phil Reed, Cedric Bill, Gennady Kalashnikov, Luke Groom, George Barrio in 19th. And that is our 19-car grid today. And Jorge, you didn't really set a time.
Yeah. The one is you have a really big climb going from 19th, with a 6,200 I rating. Really talented driver, like the whole field is. So it's kind of curious to see him try to drive through the field. Now look at that fog that we see there. I mean, Wow.
It's gonna be that just shows on how much of a run they have to turn one. And turn one is gonna be so key here on lap one. If you know anything about Monza and racing, you know lap one, very crucial and dangerous. How dangerous is it going to be here today with some of the best racers here on iRacing? 5K IR rated field. Who's going to be the brave ones? Who's going to be the cautious ones? Now, the strategy for most of these guys are going to be looking for the outside line heading into there. And if they sense a sense of danger, don't be surprised if people are just going to start yeeting it across there and taking that slowdown penalty. As here come the lights. Ladies and gentlemen, the lights are on, the heartbeats are rising, so are the rest, because we're going racing for the iRacing Formula 3.5 Challenge, and it's a horrible start for Tim Delisle, and Almeida gets a great start as they're racing down the front straight here at Monza.
Yeah, not a good start for Delisle, but he's able to get to turn number
Oh
one.
my,
Oh my
goodness!
Omar Baja.
Baja repeating an Ericsson moment, and there's carnage in the background as Delisle and Ricardo Ozarko going side by side through Curva Grande.
Well, that was a real clean start for Delisle, but wasn't very clean for Baja. He just went flying.
Yeah, Ricardo took that slowdown penalty, and he dropped back already, and he's fighting with Robert Charlton, but oh, what? That was just absolutely crazy seeing that Formula 3.5 car of Omar Baja taking off into the air and, well, hitting a catch fence.
You hate to see it, Austin. I mean, these cars are kind of like airplanes, and that literally took off.
There's no other way to say that, and wow. Suelo Almeida was caught up all in there, and he's dropped all the way down to 18th, but he was actually turned around at a separate incident. I'm not sure if he saw what happened behind him and got tagged from back, but crazy start. Crazy start.
Speaking of a crazy start, is George in the who started last is already up 10 spots. I mean,
Barrio had a great start. I think he might go up just a little bit more as we ride on board with Fabio Di Carmelo as James J. Pacer looking around the outside, and as they're having a drag race here. And it's not much of a drag race as JJ swings in front of Di Carmelo, and JJ is up into fourth.
what a great move by JJ Power, making that power move into the fourth position. Great start for him, already up 6 positions from his starting spot.
Now, tires are going to have a weird grip thing because there's water in the air. So that also means there's going to be some water on this tire. And if you ever driven in a crazy humid area, it makes things a little bit slippy. And the acceleration of these cars in the fog is so great. As let's run on board for Omar Baja. Oh, he got tagged from behind.
Close your eyes if you can't handle this.
Oh. Well, he got out of there safely, but that was one dangerous ride, and that certainly isn't a ride you want to go on Disneyland.
No, that's why, tighten those seatbelts one last time.
Oh my goodness.
That car's junk.
And then it was just a parking lot right there. One of the Positive Sim Racing cars was involved. Is that a... My goodness. It's so much stuff happened right there.
I mean, that was... You hate to see it.
This is on board with Simone Pizzica. And I think he's going to get a show right across his front wing. Oh, then it was just a car park. He's just trying to go around, and he tags the number 3 of Suelo Almeida right there.
Wow, this just... this track does bring a lot of carnage, Austin. I'd be lying to say if this was the first time there was ever an incident in turn 1, and it will definitely not be the last time. But right now, it's the Tim Delisle show, just putting on a clinic.
Wait, was that a Dan? Oh! I am not surprised that happened. Oh, and then going through the second chicane, Dan strikes again right there. And we're back live with Ricardo Zorco in second place, 4 seconds behind Tim Delisle, as he's having a battle with Robert Tarleton, our leading American driver in the field.
Yeah, good battle here. Oh, look at that fog, Austin. I mean, we get down that lower camera angle, and it just shows that. I mean,
Marco,
I have a hard time seeing.
Marco, are you trying to make this job intentionally hard to best? Oh wait, I know why Marco's doing this. It's because of that livery that Robert's running. Marco is, even though he's a native Italian, he absolutely hates this livery and Ferrari. Oh, you love the livery. You just don't want to see the Ferrari car. Oh, you can't see anything from this point.
Yeah, you know, we got a great battle here. Tarleton, really, the Illinois club driver, trying to stay in that tow, using the DRS when he can, get a good entrance into these corners. But, you know, Ricardo is just running very clean laps, you know, up 4 spots from his starting spot. Very quick driver. Speaking of quick times, Delisle just set the quickest lap of the race.
Oh, this is the first time I've really done the chopper camera around this track, and let me tell you, there wasn't actually a lot of fog there.
Yeah, not foggy on the whole track, Austin, just most of it. See JJ Power, James Pinkster sitting there waiting for a mistake from Tarleton.
James J. Pacer in that black matte car. I gotta tell you, that car paint job, it's very simple, but it just looks menacing when you just start sneaking up behind you.
Well, and here's the thing, it's simple, and I tell you what, Austin, you know who that is. There's nobody else that runs the matte black. So when you see the matte black, you know that JJ Power's coming. And you better be ready for a power move for the next position.
Yeah, and above him, Robert looking down to the inside. DRS wide open. JJ going to make it 3 wide heading into turn 1. Who's going to be the last late breakers? It's going to be Robert and James J. Pacer jumping ahead of Ricardo.
See?
Case in point.
I mean, JJ Power made a nice power move to get to the final spot on the podium, but it's only lap 5 of 23. And it ain't gonna happen with him just finishing there without a battle with the positive sim racing. Ricardo right behind him.
And Ricardo's hopping over these curves. He's got a nice run on James, but it's gonna be very hard to make a big attempt. Oh my goodness, what has happened back here? Lopez, Samborski, and Barrio. 3 cars involved in an incident at the second chicane, and Lopez has got some damage. So let's run on board with Everett Samborski to see what's happened here. Oh. Well, he came in there hotter than a ghost pepper.
Yeah, he definitely went a little hotter than Barrio did in that corner, that's for sure. But no, they're back racing. Look at this battle here. 5-way battle for second.
Yep. James J. Pacer around the outside through Parabolica. Robert Tarleton onto the inside, side by side, wheel to wheel. Right behind him is Orozco and DeCarmo and Paul Ilbrink. And oh boy, we're going to see another 3-way race down the front straight here at Monza.
Come on, make it 4 wide.
Oh, I honestly don't want to see that go 4 wide. Pacer around the outside, Tarleton down to the inside. Tarleton cuts off the nose of Pacer, and around the outside and off the exit is Ricardo jumping ahead of James J. Pacer.
DeCarmo putting down the quickest lap of the session. What a blistering lap. And that's really nice to see that someone's running really close times with Tim Delisle there. But this is a 5-way battle. And then look at Paul Ilbrink just waiting there.
That switchback move behind DeCarmo almost clipped off his wing. Let's go down the field on Everett Samborski and Barrio and Cedric Bill. We're having a good 3-way fight for 9th place.
Yeah, Samborski's like, I got into Barrio that time, and he's right behind me. Might be getting a little nervous. Back to the battle for second. DeCarmo in the toe. And try to get up the Pinkster.
Through Riscari they go, and Tarleton is pulling away. Tarleton's had a great last 2 laps, and here comes James looking down to the inside. They're having a drag race. Pacer ahead of Ricardo. Pacer, very nice, and oh my goodness, a little bit squirrely right there for Ricardo. On Parabolica, got onto the outside of that track and onto that curbing, and it kind of plateaus out here. Gonna have to correct the car a lot. He's opened up DRS, trying to catch up all the ground that he can. And that drag race with Paul Ilbrink side by side into the braking zone, goes deep onto the brakes. Paul Ilbrink jumps ahead of Ricardo for 4th place.
Yeah, Ilbrink, kind of a little further back in the field than we normally see. So he's, this is a very competitive field here at Monza for the F3.5 cars. And, right now it's the Tim Delisle show. See on your screen, Delisle is fast.
Starring Tim Delisle and also starring Tim Delisle as Tim Delisle. Executive producers is Tim Delisle. That's how the credits for the Tim Delisle show work, right?
From the last time I saw it, yeah, that's how it usually goes. But
sometimes
what's
guest starring Dan.
What's been really impressive about this race, Austin, is Robert Tarleton, 4,000 I rating in second, and in first, Tim Delisle, 8,000 I rating. Like,
there's a reason why Tim Delisle has 8,000 I rating.
Yeah.
He's 8 seconds in the lead.
Yeah. What a good run by Tarleton, though. Running in second place, starting to pull away from Pinkster a little bit. I'm sure when they were battling, he was using the DRS. New quick time, Tim Delisle.
As we're watching this battle for 3rd place now, we ride on board with Ricardo. He's just buried in that draft of Paul Ilbrink ahead of him, but now that everyone's spread out, and after that first few laps melee, we're going to start seeing some more cleaner lines. Maybe these guys are going to start using that draft to their advantage and try to catch up to Tim Delisle. Maybe we're going to see some IndyCar strats coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, this track is very dependent on the toe for how long these straightaways are.
Move by Paul Ilbrink, swinging it down to the inside. Sorry for cutting you off right there.
Oh, you're good.
What a move from Paul.
Oh yeah, great move by Ilbrink to get into the final podium position over James J. Pinkster, and Ilbrink's going to have to put his head down and try to chase down Tarleton if he wants to get second.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about setups with these cars coming in to this race on the medium. I know a lot of drivers are trying out the medium downforce, seeing if the new car can handle the less aero. And looking at James and Paul, they're both running that medium downforce setup. But I want to see if somebody's risking that low downforce.
We saw it. Was it last week in Indianapolis? Had a couple drivers that ran the low downforce package.
No, they're running the medium.
Medium downforce. Medium downforce.
You'll know when you see the low. You'll know when you see the low. It's just like a bar.
Well, we might see that. Some of these drivers. Well, another quick time by Delisle. Sunday cruise.
Looking down to the inside, James. Oh, selling a dummy. Well, you can tell that I'm the dummy right now because I fell for that one.
No comment.
No,
but yeah, great run by Pinkster trying to sell a dummy. Sometimes in a lower SOF races, because it happens to me all the time when someone sells a dummy and I screw up and they make the pass, but it don't happen very often in this 5K SOF.
Yeah, these guys have brains wide as a mile right now, and they just know all the tricks in the book. We're running on board with Ricardo behind James J. Pinkster. Ricardo currently sitting in 5th. Paul Ilbrink just ahead of him, kicking up a little bit of dirt. Take a look at that matte black wing of James J. Pinkster. don't know if he's selling sponsorships on that car, but I kind of want to see something on there.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see it too. With his high level of talent and his beautiful matte black paint scheme. It'd be cool to see a logo on that for sure.
Yeah, but I think it ruins the look a bit.
Oh yeah,
The matte black.
yeah, it's really a custom look, and he's the only one that I've seen support that look.
Yeah. Well, he's in that three-way fight for third place. Paul Ilbrick staying on the outside. James looking down to the inside. Then once again back into the draft. And funny thing, Ricardo's not following James as he's going down to the inside, and he's just staying behind Paul Ilbrick right there. He's not following James's tactics.
Sometimes you gotta have your own tactics. Don't always want to be the follow the leader. Doing a really good job though.
I think what Ricardo idea is, if he follows James, he's going to get an amazing run on James, and he's going to have to send one into turn one. I don't think he wants to send one into turn one and be on the accidental cause of a potential incident. So he's just playing it safe and not wanting to risk it. So that's a smart move by James, but if in this sprint race format, it's not that big brain of a move, unless he thinks that there's a potential incident going to happen in front of him.
Yeah, and it's only lap 10, Austin. I mean, with a four-way battle for second. Yeah, it's second now. I mean, Tarleton's starting to close. The gap's starting to close between Tarleton and Ilbrick.
Amazing overhead shot through Lysol spray. Believe that's, well, there's the red car of Robert Tarleton. He goes wide once more.
Man, I'll tell you what, Tarleton put on a good show, but Ilbrick's coming. Ilbrick wants second, and J.J. Power says, no, I want to get second place, because, Delisle has checked out with that pretty much a 10-second gap. Tarleton got Ilbrick in pretty much almost his gearbox. And I think Paul's getting ready to make that aggressive move on Tarleton, right on the gearbox there, gets onto the straightaway. Just trying to maintain, stay in the toe, use your DRS at the right times. From what I heard before with Ilbrick, that he likes to kind of save his DRS towards the end of the race, which I think is what most of the drivers like to do. But, it's good to see him back up in the podium position right now in third. He missed a couple podiums the last. He's had some rough luck, and it's good to see a little bit of luck on his side. Chasing down Tarleton. Is he going to make a move? Not going to wait another turn.
Yeah, Tarleton is just sitting up there. It's timing tower decided just went a little bit kooky right there. Delisle, he's all right. That's a new one, but James apparently new fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, JJ Power, fastest lap of the race so far. His lap number 11 was super quick. Back to Eddie Samborski was in the toe. See if he makes a move here.
Samborski, well, he's just pinched out to the outside line, and that was well placed by Simon Pizzica. And we've seen Pizzica just perform some amazing overtakes, and that was one of them. And speaking of overtakes, we have a new second place driver, Paul Ilbrick.
Yeah, Paul made a real nice transition into second place. That's another word for pass.
Well, this is like Curva Grande. Paul Ilbrick gets a amazing run, swings it onto the outside. Now it's onto the inside. Very late on the brakes, and placed that exactly where he wanted it.
Oh, that was a great move by Paul. Getting up into that second position. I think, like I said before, his His luck in the last couple of races has not been on his side, and so far it is on his side.
Well, it's exactly where he wants to be, on the podium and leading us back. I think he would want to be in first right now, but we all know who is up there, and that would be Tim Bilal.
Yeah, you know, you think Tim would like to slow down a little bit so he can get a little more TV time, but the battle right now is for second, Pinkster, Ilbrink, Tarleton, and then with Ricardo sitting
Oh,
behind.
James! Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Well, if Tim was in this fight, it would be absolutely insane. And I don't think Tim wants to be in a massive wheel-to-wheel fight. Sure, he'll put a smile on his face, but I don't think his girlfriend would be happy. Because last time he was in a... Oh, my goodness. That would be Lopez spun around in the runoff area and taking out one of those boards.
Yeah, those boards, I tell you what, he was running up in the 7th position at the time.
You just catch the grass? No? Oh, I think we're going to see a lot of loud pedal. Oh, on the exit, got into the grass. Booked the power just a bit too much and spinning around.
Yeah, you gotta be careful when you get into the kitty litter for sure.
And here goes James J. Pincer looking for a run around the outside. Now switching back down to the inside, then back into the draft of Ilbrink. James looking a little bit feisty for that second place.
Yeah, he saw the move Ilbrink pulled on Tarleton, and he's like, well, yeah, be ready, because it's coming for me, and it's coming soon.
As they're drag racing down the front straight. Here goes James down onto the inside, and he's got him by Carlink heading into the braking zone. And James J. Pincer up into second place. And oh, Robert getting touched, and he gets pushed a little bit by Ricardo in the braking zone, and I think that was just a courtesy let by from Ricardo, but a little bit feisty in the battle for fourth place between Ricardo and Robert. And Robert, not letting Ricardo have any of it, jumps over the curbs, takes the rallycross line right there. And Ricardo stays in 5th place, and now these two guys are falling away from that fight for second.
That's exactly what JJ Power and Paul Ilbrink want to see, is Tarleton and Ricardo battling for that 4th position. But I think the battle is, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's kind of simmered down a little bit. They turned the heat down on the stove down to like 3.
Now, this is what happened. Ricardo very late on the brakes, saw him get just a little bit too much, and then that tap right there. And I think that was just a courtesy thing that Ricardo did. He didn't want to pass him immediately, let him back, and then try to pass him legitimately. And both those moves were, well, that move was defended by Robert. So Ricardo, a little bit feisty, a little bit off kilter, but we're still all running here.
Yeah, you know, he made a little bit of mistake, and you know, just kind of say, hey, I screwed up. I hit you in the rear end, and I'm just gonna let you take it, you know, and I'll try to pass you another time by. But look, we still got a great battle for second, led by Pinkster, but you know, Paul Ilbrink's right on the gearbox of him. This battle ain't over. It's 15-23. Don't switch to YouTube channel, because this is gonna be great.
I do know a few people that watch the Formula 3.5 in their living rooms on like some casted off of some casted device, which is absolutely insane seeing those pictures of this series on TV.
And they get to hear your voice. I mean, that's...
I know.
I mean,
I don't think about that part.
Yeah, you know, we always have some good racing here. Usually a little bit of carnage, but for the most part, great racing. I mean, 4-way battle for second.
Yeah, I mean, recently my voice has been deteriorating, so I definitely don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's okay. You hate to hear it, but you know. But look, Ilbrink and Pinkster are starting to create a little bit of a gap between Tarleton and Ricardo. And they see DeCarlo kind of back there, a little bit further back than Ricardo, but still you see him with the fog.
Yeah, he's just barely looking through that fog like some eyes through the mist, but hey, he is within eye shot of potentially joining that battle for 5th place if something happens. And now we got a great run. Paul Ilbrink getting all the way up to the diffuser of James J. Piecer. Then he lets off. Paul is planning a move. He's planning something. As I want to respond to one of our YouTube chatters of Alex. Do these guys re-chat? Yes.
Oh, I like to see the chat because usually chat gets pretty interesting.
Oh, and here comes Ilbrink, and Ilbrink set up JJ and just went down onto the inside of the braking zone. Paul Ilbrink back up into P2.
Yeah, Paul Ilbrink put on a really good move on Pinkster. Pinkster passed him into turn number 1 the last time Paul was in front of him. But this battle ain't over, and major kudos to Tim Delisle for just putting on that clinic, being a great teacher, taking the kids to school, good old Paul Ilbrink trying to get up to Tim Delisle a couple races ago, but wasn't quite able to get there. But back to the battle for second.
Do you think Tim ever gives these guys like a pop quiz?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a really good teacher, and I haven't been in school for some years, so I couldn't tell you what a good teacher does anymore.
Well, here comes James, and I don't know what kind of move that was, but
hey,
I think
I like it.
Freak out Paul.
I like it. I like that.
It was
tactic.
unorthodox. It was very unorthodox, and that's gonna kill off your tire wear a lot. But hey, if you just want to stay behind Paul, you can do that.
Hey, I thought it was a really nice little move. He just kind of a little swervy back and forth, but Lopez was spun out earlier, trying to make a pass on Cedric Bill in 9th position. Bill is. Well, Alex, great. They recently joined the series. It's a fun series to watch. Yeah, the forums are really awesome. Cedric Bill kind of just giving up that position to Lopez.
Lopez, that was a very deep send, but Bill was also deep on the brakes, went a little bit wider than he wanted to. Maybe a little bit of a lockup. Hard to see through this little bit of a fog that we got covering the track. So we're back up to this battle for second through Riscari, Ilbrink, and Piecer. Are we going to see the Piecer snake down the straight this time by?
Or are we going to see the Pinkster snake? Or are we going to see the Pinkster power move, the JJP?
Ooh.
Making that.
Ilbrink onto the dirt, onto the entrance for Parabolica. So I don't think we're going to see any snake right there because he's already made the move before Parabolica has ended.
Ilbrink ran real wide there. JJP clears him, but is Ilbrink going to make another move?
Well, Ilbrink, he's just going to sit on that diffuser right there. Not going to try to send anything into turn 1. I think he's going to wait for Perma Grande and just get the move off the draft because that's how he did it last time. We're going to see it again as Phil Reed. Did we just have an incident?
Oh, Phil, you hate to see it. The pad. Gave him a little bit of troubles. But look at Paul Ilbrink.
Once more up into 2nd place.
Man, it's like we're just playing replay footage because almost every time JJ Power gets in front of him, that same turn, here comes Paul to get right back around him.
Yeah, and look who's joined the party. Robert and Ricardo have made this battle for second a 2-way fight into a 4-way fight. And I don't think we're going to be seeing the Piecer snake anymore.
I mean, Robert and Ricardo, they looked up. They're like, that looked like a slow jam for second. Now let's speed this thing up and make it a 4-way battle for second. And I kind of like to see that.
Well, if anyone has the Freebird guitar solo ready on play, I think it'd be time to absolutely let it fly right now because this is about to get wild.
Getting On to lap number 20. Next time by. So, I mean, this race is starting to come down the wire.
Pacer looking around the outside. He's got the speed and he's got the opportunity. James down onto the inside, but he's ran over the curb on corner entry. And look who is around the outside of Paul Ilbrich to block Robert. And it's Robert Tarleton. But now Paul Ilbrich down to the inside. James looking around the outside of Curva Grande. They're side by side. They're jockeying for position. Side by side into the braking zone. Robert Tarleton's going to make this too wide. Just pitching James down onto the inside. And Robert Tarleton back end looser than some oil grease. But he's up there into third, and he's holding off James, who is just trying to get past him through Lesmo's 1 and 2. But Robert Tarleton up into third place. What a move.
You know, that's a corner that most people aren't going to go too wide in, but he said, I don't care. I want to make the move, and that's why it's going to happen because, you know, hey, he just went for it, and there's nothing wrong with nice, clean racing. JJ Power right on the gearbox of Tarleton. Look at, then there's DeCarmo just sitting back there like, hey, you guys start racing a little more. And new quick time, Tim Delisle. And DeCarmo had a strong run last week, and then just had an incident early, so you hate to see it, but it's good to see him back up into 6 and trying to fight for the top 5. But we're looking at the rear view from Ilbrich, and there was a little shaky by Tarleton. Ooh.
It got pretty feisty back behind him, and Paul Ilbrich using DRS down that straight, and he's got a good view in his rear view mirror, but I think he's just eyes forward right now to focus on these last few laps that we got here. James looking down to the inside of Robert Tarleton. Thought about it, and oh no! James gone wide, and that's a slowdown penalty. And James going to fall to the back of this group for the battle for second, and I think he's going to be staying in 5th to the end of this race. But above him, oh no, Ricardo's off in the grass!
You hate to see it.
And James found himself a little bit of buddy, but oh no, that is so unfortunate. Ricardo or Rizzoco just off in Lesmo 1 and 2. Just caked in grass right there. Oh, that is so unfortunate. That leaves Ilbrich and Tarleton 1 in the battle for second.
These drivers, Austin, a new quick time for Delisle. Eddie Samborsi going off, but what I was just going to say is when it's coming down to this, you know, to crunch time, these drivers are driving right on the edge, and we've seen that this lap with Pinkster and Ricardo both having issues. I mean, these drivers are literally pushing it to the edge right now. And that's including Delisle, who just sets quick times after quick time after quick time.
Tim Delisle is absolutely on fire, 15 seconds ahead, but we don't know the full finishing order yet in this battle for second between Paul Ilbrich and Robert Tarleton, but also a battle to watch is a battle for 4 between James J. Pinster and Ricardo Orozco. And these two guys, they've had up and down days, but they're going to be giving it their all.
Oh yeah, that's I expect nothing less. I mean, and then you look at right behind him, DeCarmo. DeCarmo's like, you guys need to start battling right now, so I can catch up to that and try to get the 5th.
We're going to be staying with this battle for second. Paul Ilbrich ahead of Robert Tarleton. So having a drag race underneath the oval bridge.
That oval's fun.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a fun oval. You have some fun stories about taking out Parker Kligerman there.
Yeah, that's for another day. But Paul Ilbrich, he's trying to pull away from Tarleton. And first off, great run so far for Tarleton's running in third position up into second too. But great run for him. Another quick time for Tim Delisle.
1:35.230 for Tim Delisle. Paul Ilbrich looking down to the inside. Tarleton keeping his wits, but he's got a great run. Here it comes, that Ferrari liveried Renault 3.5 car driven by Robert Tarleton, but He's not going full commitment into the speed right now, just staying back behind Ilbrick as James and Ricardo still nose to tail with each other.
I think Delisle's saving his DRS for the last lap, like he did at Montreal. Then they had a little shaky at one of those chicanes. So we'll see if he's gonna set another quick time.
Do you think we're going to see a 134 from Tim on the last
I
lap?
mean, you like to see it, but just gonna have to wait and see.
He's currently sitting at a 135.2. And we might see a 134 out of Tim. As,
Yeah, he's at that 135 too. And honestly, Austin, I have no clue if he's gonna get up into the 134s.
Here's a replay of Ricardo. And yeah, that's just Lesmo 1 right there. So tricky.
Pushing it to the limits. That's what these drivers are doing. It's crunch time. If you want to make up spots, you have to push the car to the limits, and you got to find that fine line. Oh, Eddie Samborski went around. Not his day, Austin. Not his day.
Definitely not his day, as white flag is in the air here at Monza. And this is crunch time. DRS wide open for Paul Ilbrink. Robert Talton getting as close as he can. So we set up for the Curva Grande. And once again, DRS open for Paul Ilbrink once more. And this is his defense. And we are ending these closing stages of this race right now. Robert's just using DRS whatever he wants to right now. We saw him using it in that little short shoot leading up to Lesmo 1 and 2. And once again, DRS open for both of these drivers. No, just for Paul. Actually, no, Robert does have it, has it open right there.
It was a nice look at that going into that corner, the DRS being deactivated.
And it's Tim Delisle coming out of Parabolica to take another victory in the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, and they won 35.083. Robert Thompson looked down to the inside. Paul Ilbrick cutting off the nose of him, and Paul is going to make a great drive to take second place on the podium, followed by Robert Tarleton in third. James A. Pinster finishes in fourth place, followed by Ricardo Orzoko.
Hats off to those drivers from second to fifth. Here's a good opportunity for Samborski, but not quite enough. But second to fifth, I mean, Austin, that was just some great, clean racing that, you love to see.
Yeah, it was some great racing. This was a great finish. Drag race between Kolesnikov and Samborski, but Samborski almost had it right there. Just with the finish line was just a little bit farther up. Greg Olson, oh, he just wants to forget this day. Down 10 spots. Lap 1, not his friend. And lap 1 was just absolutely carnage today.
Only one that was friends with lap 1, and that was Tim Delisle.
Yep. And whoever clips those Twitch clips for and puts them onto YouTube, because that's going to definitely make it on this week. That was just a chaotic wreck.
Oh, it was. I mean, literally, got onto the runway and just literally flew off almost into space. I mean,
yeah, it was the tap by Dan, which, if you're familiar with the Formula 3.5 community, will not surprise you at all. Who got into the back of Greg and of Omar, who just sent him just flying into the air. And that was the only person who was affected by it, Dan and Omar. The incident with Greg was just completely on his own. Yeah, Greg's down to the inside. He gets onto the brakes, and he just gets in the back of Suelo right there, and it's just a car park, and unfortunately, just got caked up in there as we just still watch over this lap one incident, and boom, carries so much speed on lap one. You just got to be aware of other cars on lap one, and Omar got taken for an absolute ride right there.
Well, it looks like is your final race results, Austin?
Well, it's Tim Delisle taking the win, followed by Paul Obrick, 1 and 2, finishing 1 and 2 ahead of Robert Charlton, James A. Pinster, Ricardo Orzuco, Fabio DiCarmo, Simone Pizzica, Jorge Lopez, Cedric Bill, Gennady Kalashnikov, Edward Samborski, Jorge Barrio, Dan Gang, Greg Olson, Luke Groom, Phil Reed, Dominic Gadamart, Suelo Amida, and Omar Baja in 19th. And I believe we are standing by with Mr. Tim Delisle. Howdy, 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 Tim. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Good race.
Yeah, it was a bit foggy today. Was the fog affecting you in any way today, or was it just a easy cruise around Monza?
The fog was fine, really. Like I've actually never seen it in iRacing before, so that was interesting when I joined the server, and I thought like I was just worried about how it might potentially affect the track, but no, just the track felt really good. Qualifying was a dream. I just nailed that second lap. There was maybe like half a tenth in it, but I thought if anyone else gets pole today, they've really earned it. And then I was really stressed about the race start, and it sucks what happened behind. It looks like Greg got the back of Swelio, and then it all came unraveled from there, which is really unfortunate. But at the same time, like from my perspective, I guess it's lucky because I knew it was going to be a slipstream train, and it looked like it was behind me. The four cars, trading positions the whole race. So yeah, I was lucky to escape that and then kind of just run my own race.
Well, it came all for you right there. You got the win. You got lucky at turn one. I was watching the Formula 3.5 guys talk about turn one all this week on how they're avoiding incidents, what strategy there was going into turn one, and the unfortunate incident that some people had going into turn one. And unfortunately, I would say the biggest one of the week happened today.
Yeah, I still have to go back and watch it in full. I've just seen a quick replay.
Yeah, there were two separate incidents, I must say. One was more spectacular and high flying, and the other one was more unfortunate than the other.
So we're going to see some cars flipping.
You're going to see one car flipping.
Nice. Um, yeah, the whole week I've been worried about turn one. Um,
No, you don't have
like
to worry anymore.
like it sounds stupid, but waking up at 5 a.m. yesterday and today, just stressing about it. Um, and yeah, like once I got clear of that, I was just so relaxed. That might be my most consistent race ever. I had one lap that was a bit sloppy. Apart from that, I think I did like 12 laps in a row that were either a 35.5 or 6. So yeah, it just couldn't have gone any better for me personally.
Well, honestly, there's no way it can get better for you. Fastest lap of the race. You won the race. You got pole. I guess you could have solved cancer while doing that, but I don't know on how talented you are there.
Yeah, my COVID vaccine's probably a couple of weeks away.
All right. Thank you, Tim. But before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, the team, Positive Sim Racing. It was a really collaborative effort this week. Working towards our final setup. Ricardo, who made his debut in the broadcast today, I mainly used his setup for the race, and Greg came up with something that worked really well for qualifying. So thanks to them. Sorry to Greg and Swelio. I know they were going to be really strong today, but it didn't work out for them. Yeah, congrats to Paul and I think it was James in P3, JJP. Yeah, and you guys for the coverage. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Tim Delau, for another great race. And Avery, you're standing by with Mr. Paul Ilbrink.
Hey, Paul, it's Avery. You got me?
Yeah, I do.
Congratulations on another great run. Finishing second in this series of this track is very difficult. But it's pretty much you, Robert, James, and Ricardo. How was that battle from your end?
Yeah, that was not how I intended it to be. Like, it was a bit sketchy in turn one. Like, I think it was Ricardo coming a bit in the middle, and I saw the mess on my right, so I just opted to skip the chicane and take the slowdown. And that threw me back a bit, but I had a pretty good set, although it was like a little bit short on the sixth gear. Like, it's fine for running alone, but it's a bit annoying if the cars around you have like the possibility to just draft and drive by you and you are bouncing off the limiter. But yeah, it was quite fun in the end. It was a bit of tactic, when to be in front and when to re-overtake, and it worked out in the end, and managed to take P2.
Yeah, it was definitely a fantastic race from our viewpoint, and that's what we love about this series. Next week we go to another track that's has some long straightaways at Road America. Are you a fan of that track?
It's okay, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
not really favorite, but like it's not very bad either. So a bit in the middle for me.
well. We look forward to seeing you there next week. Before we let you go, is anybody like to thank?
Sure, I want to thank my teammates at Radicals Online and our partners and sponsors: Armor Centrum, Cranfield Simulation, Track Racer, Joe Real Timing, Turn Racing, MOATF Podcast, Six Sideways, and Pixel Dust. And you guys for doing a nice broadcast.
All right, thanks, Paul. We'll see you next week. Congrats on the second place. That's Paul Ilbrink finishing second. Austin?
Yeah, we're standing by with James J. Pace here. He was, well, up and down day to day, but you came out in the top 5. So how was that race? Well, just recap. How was that race, man?
Honestly, I can be pretty happy with that. I'm sure the stream will have caught what happened on lap 1 in turn 1.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Typical Monza, really, just a massive crash. So I was happy to get through that. I just went really cautious to get through that. And then from there, yeah, just keeping it clean, making a few decent moves, then got into that fight for second, which, yeah, obviously there were some high-profile names that got taken out, but still to be in the fight for second, I was really happy with. Obviously, I had that one lock-up that sent me off the track, cost me a few seconds, and therefore I finished 4th. So, yeah, it could have been better, but I'm definitely happy with 4th today.
It was a wild battle with you and Paul, Robert, and Ricardo. And while you and Paul were just by yourselves for a bit, you started weaving across the track in like a snake pattern. And is that a new type of move you're working on? The JJ Snake, snake, or what was that idea?
It's not like jiu-jitsu or wrestling where you come up with new moves or stuff like that, quite. More so it was just, I don't know, really, just to let him know that I wasn't going to try and overtake in that part of the race, because obviously in this track, like slipstream trains are really like prolific or proficient. So we had, I think it was Robert about 1.2 seconds behind, and the slipstream cutoff is 1 second. So obviously, if we battle really hard, then we're going to drop half a second, and then we're going to be fighting another car. So yeah, essentially that was just letting him know that I wasn't going to come through at that point. Unfortunately, I got betrayed, because then later in the race, he started doing more aggressive moves on me, which is obviously fair racing. But
Yeah.
and I'm sure the stream enjoyed that, because we got a pretty nice 4-car train briefly before me and Ricardo made a couple of mistakes. But yeah, typical Monza, really.
Well, thankfully, you don't have to worry about Monza after this week, as you're going to be focusing on Road America. But before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
You ask me this question every single time. You ask me this question.
This
Like-
kind of standard, really.
Like to thank iRacing for posting the service. I'd like to thank Italy for holding the track. I'd like to thank France for creating the Formula Renault car. I'd like to thank America for creating iRacing. I'd like to thank where the country of origin Apex Racing TV is from for hosting another, I presume, brilliant broadcast for everyone to watch. I'd like to thank Paul and Robert and Ricardo and everyone else. It was a pretty fun race today. Yeah, I don't know.
Any race with JJ Power is fun to watch. So,
JJ Power.
well,
Well, while we're on the subject, are you thinking of adding that to your car, maybe on the rear wing?
JJ Power. I don't know. No one calls me JJ Power outside of
Well,
this
Well, Avery
this commentary
does.
channel. I'll be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I get called it in here, but that's about it. I think there was another name like James Jonah Jameson, named after someone from The Office or something.
Oh, that's Spider-Man.
Is that? Oh, same thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's for the Daily Bugle.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't watch movies, so I have no idea.
Well, you don't read comic books
yeah,
either.
No. I drive. I drive.
All right.
This is the most awkward interview ever.
You brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
congrats on a great run.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, let's get the show off the road right now and drift off to crazy land. Avery, any closing comments?
Well, Monza, turn 1, you saw it. That's it.
All right, thank you everyone for hopping in and watching another great race here at Monza on Apex Racing TV. It's been the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship. I've been joined by Avery McDonald. Mark Barbonero has been giving us all these wonderful cameras and graphics up on the screen. And I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a great night.